Welcome, everyone. We'll start with an arrival practice. It'll be just about 5 minutes, and then we'll kind of explain what we can expect for the next 2 hours. I think people are still going to be coming in, but we can get started. So, just finding a comfortable position. Allowing the eyes to close gently, or allowing a soft gaze downwards. And bringing attention into the body. Feeling the body connected to whatever you're resting on. And sensing into the downward movement, the downward energy of gravity holding you here. Sensing the weight of you grounded. And also sensing into the height of you rising up through the back, neck, head. Allowing the chin to be slightly tucked, so you feel the length in the back of the neck. Shoulders melting down, relaxed. And allowing the muscles in the face to be relaxed as best you can. And forehead spacious. So settling into a posture that represents ease, warmth, wakefulness. And perhaps now taking a few deeper than normal breaths. Helping you to more fully arrive into this moment. Sensing the nourishment on the in-breath. Softening, relaxing, releasing as best as you can on the out-breath. And then allowing your breath to come back to its natural rhythm. Sensing back into your posture. Expanding your awareness into the space around you. And when you're ready, if your eyes were closed, you can raise your gaze. And I'll hand it over to Ben.
Thank you, Siri. And good morning to you. I know I can say good morning because you and I are both in Thailand. And welcome to everyone around the world, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ben Weinstein, and like Siri, I'm a teacher of mindful self-compassion. We're just going to take a few minutes as we introduce this to share a little bit about what's inspiring us and what we'd like to offer for you today, because I think that Siri and I are both pretty excited about the practices we're going to be offering. I'd like to invite you to take a moment to ask yourself, what does beginning anew mean to you? Notice it. And in your mind, how does one do that? How does one begin anew? Is it possible? And this is, for me, what comes up is the idea of a fresh start. And what we'd like to offer you in these 2 hours is how mindfulness and self-compassion can help us to have a fresh start. And I'm going to do that with reference to the 3 elements of the mindfulness and self-compassion model, the 3 elements originally proposed by Kristin Neff, which are the foundation of the MSc course. The first element is common humanity. Common humanity means recognizing what it means to be a human being with a brain and a nervous system and a body that have evolved and developed over millions of years to operate a certain way. For example, 2 things that are really important when you want to make a fresh start. Number 1, this brain has the tendency to operate on autopilot. It's not you individually. All of our brains do this. Anything that we do over and over, day after day, whether we consider it good or whether we consider it bad, the things that we do, they become automated in the brain. They get pushed to deeper levels of the brain where they can be done and happen without any awareness at all. This kind of automaticity, it's built into how this works. The second element, or one more element, I mean, there isn't just 2, there's many more, but I'm supposed to limit how much I talk here, so I'm going to do my best. The second element is the fact that your brain kind of works like a tape recorder, your brain and your nervous system, especially for things that have hurt you or bothered you or frightened you or made you sad. All the pains that we experience in life, we tend to carry forward with us just because of how this works. And sometimes this can prevent us from being able to begin anew because we don't like painful stuff. We don't like remembering disappointments or discouragement. But of course, once we understand that this is common humanity, that this is part of what it means to be human, we stop asking, why am I like this? What's wrong with me? We stop asking those questions because we start to understand that, oh, this is part of being human. This isn't me. I'm not my fault. And we can smile and say, yep, here's my past. Here's my autopilot. The second element of the model that helps us is, of course, mindfulness. This beautiful ability to show up and be present right here, right now. to be able to notice what's happening while it's happening, because this is the antidote to autopilot. This is the ability to be present and to choose. And at that moment, when we are present and choosing, we are free. We are free of the human tendency to go onto autopilot, and we can, in fact, be free to choose. The poet John Erskine says, "I keep the thorns in order to keep the rose." That is to say, mindfulness gives us the possibility of embracing everything about being human. It's not our fault that our bodies carry everything that we've experienced with us, and that it's going to come up as we live our lives. And that if we push away the thorns, we will also use perhaps the amazing possibilities of being human, which is why freedom and being able to choose freely is so important. And that brings us to the third element of the model, which is self-compassion. That when the pains of being human, the pains that we carry around, some of which may be individual for us, some of which may reflect the history of our communities or the histories of our nations that we carry within us, that when those pains arise, self-compassion allows us to meet those pains with kind tenderness and support, as opposed to having to suppress them or run away from them, and then perhaps not live our lives freely as who we wish to be. And self-compassion also, there's a side of self-compassion that's tender, and there's a side of self-compassion that also allows us to set a direction and to courageously face things that are difficult for us as part of this journey of living as who we want to be. So those are the things that we're going to explore in these 2 hours as we reflect on 2021 and look forward into 2022. And that's why we try to begin anew. We try to begin anew. We try to start fresh so that all these tendencies of being human, the pains of our histories, and the automaticity of our minds do not deny us the incredible possibilities that come along with living a human life. But we learn how to handle them in ways that are kind to ourselves and that let us live as who we would like to be. So those are the practices that we're going to offer in the next 2-ish hours, are aimed at fostering those 3 elements. And we so much hope that it will be useful for you. I think that's about it for me, Siri.
Thank you, Ben. So before we drop into the meditations, I'd just like to speak a little bit to the importance of intention, because we'll have the opportunity to come up with our own unique intentions that we might like to bring into this coming year. So many of you might know Jack Kornfield. He's a meditation teacher and author. He said that be mindful of intention. Intention is the seed that creates our future. Be mindful of intention. Intention is the seed that creates our future. So these intentions are deep, heartfelt wishes that give us direction and remind us what we deeply, deeply care about, what truly matters to us, reminds us why we're doing whatever it is that we're doing. And they can reawaken us to what we're passionate about. So when we look into these deep wishes for 2022, we're not implying that we need to throw out the person that we are right now in order to become a new person, but rather really looking at encouraging you to let go of this idea of becoming a new you. And what we're creating here is a foundation for being a true you, as Ben mentioned, like a fresh start. So we don't need to become someone else. We don't need to be replaced or fixed. We are not broken. When we become more aware of the present moment with mindfulness, where we are right now, we can tune into our inner wisdom. And this can help align us with intentions that allow the truest version of ourselves to naturally emerge. And to get an idea of this present moment awareness, giving us direction, an analogy, you might like to imagine that you're a tourist in Bangkok, and it's the olden days where we used to have those paper maps, and you decide that you want to walk to the Grand Palace. Yeah. So you might find on the map the Grand Palace, yeah? Now, before you set off to the Grand Palace, you first need to know where you are in that moment, right? Simple. Oh, I'm here at the Erewhon Hotel. I know I'm here, and that's where we start. Then we can head off in the direction we need to go. So today, we'll start with the gift of getting quiet, coming into presence, and then we'll drop into more reflective practices, looking at where we've been, our history, where we are now, and this will help us gain more clarity about the direction we'd like to go in for the year ahead. So guidelines for these 2 hours is, as you've noticed, everybody is muted except for Ben and myself, and this gives us the opportunity to really step into that silence that can be so helpful. You are in choice. You can have your video on or off, whatever feels best for you. Having the video on sometimes gives us that sense of community, but up to you. If you need to take a break, then please feel free to, get up, have a cup of tea, or take a walk, have a restroom break. We won't have a break in the middle, so it's all up to you. And all of the practices are invitational, so give yourself what you need as we go through the 2 hours.
I really enjoy hearing Siri use the metaphor of a map. And I hope she won't mind if I share that part of what makes that so enjoyable for me is that Siri is from a famous is probably the wrong word, well-known map-making family. So that's her ancestors were map makers. So, and it's, of course, the metaphor of a map is such a wonderful metaphor. So we're just going to start from some mindfulness and common humanity. I'm going to take, and we're going to do a period of practice now. We're just starting with some breathing and then flowing into a practice of review. So let me invite you, first of all, to let your hands be empty. Set aside pens and paper and devices. Perhaps taking a few moments to just stretch a little bit or get comfortable. allowing yourself to settle in and finding a position where you're going to feel comfortable for about 40 minutes, but knowing that you can shift or change at any time if you like. As Siri said, deciding if you'd like to have your camera on or off, whether you'd like to be sitting or reclining or lying down. Truly listening to whatever it is your heart's telling you right now about what you need. And when you've settled in, taking a moment to enjoy 3 full, delicious breaths, or even more than 3 if you like. Just breathing fully into the capacity of your wonderful lungs, perhaps even saying, "Hello, my dear lungs," and then breathing all the way out, just feeling your body breathing. Perhaps imagining yourself breathing out any tensions, any stresses. And then just allowing your breath. Your body knows how to breathe. There's nothing you need to do. Continuing to arrive, continuing to settle into this moment. Taking a moment to feel yourself sitting here, wherever your body makes contact with the surface. This surface that is so generously, so lovingly holding you. This chair, this couch, this mattress. Just taking some moments to feel that solid sense of contact. The mass of you solidly planted here. Perhaps recognizing that this is the feeling of the earth holding you here. Perhaps feeling that the earth has lovingly folded you in their arms, like a good parent. Taking a moment to let your awareness scan through your body, just noticing whatever energy is present for you right now. Any energy, vibrations, sensations, emotions. And whatever you notice, seeing if you could just let it be. Just let it be like this, just for a few moments. And if it feels right for you, inviting a hand to come up over your heart space, or perhaps both hands, or anywhere else, perhaps giving yourself a hug or cupping your cheek with a hand. Wherever the touch of a hand would feel connected and encouraging and friendly to you. And just taking a few moments to feel the sensation, the contact of this hand. Perhaps noticing the radiant warmth, the living warmth at the point of contact. This is a gentle reminder. The person feeling the contact of this hand is a human being. A human being with remarkable resources. And who has a human brain and body, as all human beings do. A human being who needs and deserves kindness and compassion, as all human beings do. And taking a moment to set your intention to use this time and space as a way to give yourself something you truly need. If what Siri and I are leading offers you that, wonderful. But if not, perhaps giving yourself permission to let go, to not follow along, and to give yourself what you truly need. You can leave your hand here or just let your hand or hands rest very gently by your side. And whenever you feel ready, and without any rush at all, without any urgency, taking some moments to find your breath. Taking some moments to find the spot in your body where you most easily feel the physical sensations of breathing. This might be somewhere at the tip of your nose, feeling the movement maybe in your throat, your chest, the rise and fall of your tummy. Where can you feel the breath moving in your body the most clearly? This might be, for some of you, the same spot you always use, or perhaps today it's someplace new. Feeling free to use something other than the breath, if you like, if that's what works for you. And when you find that spot, bringing your awareness to rest there, like a beam of light, or like a bird landing on a branch. Not to control, not to judge, but just to feel. Feeling your body breathing right here, right now. Perhaps feeling each breath as if this breath were your first breath, as if this breath were the first time you ever really felt your body breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. Whenever you notice that your mind has wandered away from the breath or whatever anchor you are using, please just smile, a small smile. All this means is that you're human. There's no problem. Human minds wander. And whenever you notice it, just smile. And when you feel ready, gently grasp your mind by its little hand and lovingly bring it back to the next breath. Perhaps beginning to appreciate how each breath is nourishing every cell and every tissue in your body, bringing precious oxygen. If it feels right, perhaps gently curving up the corners of your mouth into a tiny inner smile, and perhaps imagining greeting each breath the same way that you might greet a dear old friend coming to visit you. bringing wonderful gifts. And you would greet them at your front door and say, "Oh, my dear friend, I'm so glad you're here. Please come in." Perhaps allowing these sensations of breathing to fill your whole sense awareness, letting the breathing be all there is, even just for one breath, this first breath. And this first breath. And this first breath.
And so now that the mind and body might be a little more settled, we'll start looking back at how last year was for us and letting that inform how we might like to motivate ourselves into 2022. You might recall that a year ago, a lot of us, we let out this deep sigh of relief, like, oh, thank goodness 2020 is over and done with. You know, it was really difficult. But as we know, last year, 2021 continued to be another incredibly difficult year. Challenges, global, personal, they continue to happen. But when we look at the challenges, isn't it true that they also present us with opportunities for growth and learning? And maybe the challenges, they helped us become aware of things that we wouldn't have otherwise learned or been aware of. So what we'll do is we'll be looking back at last year, what worked, what didn't work so well, what we learned, remembering the common humanity. Like all living beings, we grow, we change, we mess up, we adapt. So ideally, we want this reflection to be free from self-criticism, free from beating ourselves up, and instead reflecting from a space of curiosity and deep friendliness and compassion, acknowledging and allowing ourselves to be the wonderful, flawed, imperfect beings that we are, just like everyone else. So allowing the humanness to shine through. And if during this practice, if any memories arise and you start feeling difficult emotions or anxious, allow yourself to close. Take your attention elsewhere to sounds, the breath, touch, a cup of tea. So we'll start by settling the body and mind again, and then I'll ask a series of questions. This is going to be offered as a meditation. However, please do what's best for your own learning style. So if you have the urge to turn it into a journaling, writing reflection, you are in choice, whatever works for you. So if the eyes were open, allowing them to close gently, or having that downward gaze. Tuning back into the body, sitting or lying down, standing, whatever posture feels best for you in this moment. Feeling into the energy of the body right now. You might notice sensations of movement, vibrations, a range of temperature in the body from cool to warm. Just sitting, resting. And now shifting our attention to the more reflective aspect of the mind, allowing your attention to scan through how 2021 was for us. What are some things that went well? Maybe asking yourself, what did I accomplish this past year? What can I celebrate? And you might like to start with celebrating the things that seem very small but are actually much bigger than we give credit for. So simple, ordinary undertakings. It's like getting out of bed. It can take tremendous courage, because sometimes it would be so easy to just stay cocooned underneath the sheets. Times you cooked for yourself and others, cleaning, laundry, exercising, showering, meditating, celebrating these small moments of accomplishment. And of course, we may not have done these things all the time, but allowing that appreciation to arise where they did happen. Feeling into the sense of achievement. Allowing yourself to be nourished, because this matters too. And you might also like to acknowledge and celebrate the bigger wins as well. Moments of good fortune. Maybe there were moments when you received appreciation, expressions of recognition and gratitude from others. Goals that you accomplished. And bringing these to mind, these accomplishments, and feeling into them, and perhaps offering yourself some words of celebration. Well done. And if you like, staying with these successes, staying with remembering the moments of celebration, the big and the small. Or if you're willing and ready, shifting your attention to another question. What did I hope to accomplish, but didn't manage to accomplish? Where did I veer off track? And as you do this, remembering to approach this with extreme friendliness. It's not about beating ourselves up. Being human is challenging, and our lives are complex. So can we have compassion for ourselves in the midst of this mess? And it can be helpful to view this from a distance. No need to get lost in stories about what happened. Just softly touching the memories with your attention. What did I hope to do but did not manage to accomplish? And it can be helpful to imagine that you have a friend who was in the same situation. What would you say to this friend? What words of care and support would you offer your friend? And seeing if you can offer the same words to yourself. Perhaps, I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. It was difficult, and I care about you. So finding words that work for you. Maybe you didn't follow through with your commitments, or you didn't act in accord with your values and ethical principles. So offering yourself the energy of care and support you would offer to a good friend. And having regrets is part of being human. We are not broken or bad. We are like other humans going through a tough time. So if there are things that we did not accomplish that we wanted to, perhaps looking at how that happened. Maybe we didn't have a good plan to keep us on track, or we didn't have a practice to keep us aligned with our values, or didn't seek a strong support of friends, family. Of course we got off track. So human life, it consists of difficulties and joys, things we're proud of and things we regret, losses and wins. These are all part of a life well lived. So moving to the last set of questions. What have I learned in the past year? What do I know now that I didn't know then? What do I know now about myself, others, how to adapt? And now letting go of this reflection, you can always come back to it. Resting back into the body, perhaps placing one or two hands over your heart center or another supportive place. Feeling into the warmth, the gentle pressure of the hands on the body. Sensing back into your posture. Allowing yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. And for about a minute before we move to the next practice, you might like to just reflect on what came up. You might like to write down something you'd like to remember.
As we as we continue, just taking a moment to notice, however, the energy of your body and your mind are right now. And again, seeing if you could do that non-judgmentally with the friendliness that Siri has been mentioning. And as we shift from looking back to looking forward, would want to pause for a moment and do something that's like a little bit of a reset. So I'd like to invite everyone, and I'm going to do the best I can here. I'd like to invite everyone to just stand up wherever you are. You're not going to be able to see me completely, but we'll manage. Just take a moment to stand up. And of course, if you're for any reason not able to, perhaps just sitting up on the edge of your chair. And this is an important exercise of mindfulness, because if our mindfulness is only during our sitting, it can't truly help us to be free. We need to have the kind of energy of mindfulness that we can use anywhere, anytime, in any position. So I want to invite you, with your eyes open or your eyes closed, to take a moment to just feel your feet on the floor, perhaps imagining bringing your awareness down to the soles of your feet. If you have trouble feeling the soles of your feet, feel free to wiggle your toes or move them around, stimulate those nerve endings a little bit so you do feel them. If you like, perhaps taking a moment to smile to the soles of your feet, to thank them, such a small area, but the soles of your feet are always doing so much. Now scanning upwards from your feet and your ankles, through your whole body, through your legs and your trunk and your arms, your back, your shoulders, just noticing how the energy of your body is right now. Imagining that your body's a friend, and this scanning is an act of mindful listening, listening deeply to your own body. And then beginning, based on your listening, to move and to stretch your body in any way that your body might be asking for at the moment. Perhaps by rolling your shoulders or stretching your neck, perhaps by bending over, but doing this in a gradual, relaxed way so that you truly feel what you experience when you do this. Feeling free to move from a standing position into any other position that your body might be asking for at the moment. Feeling free, if you like, to lie down on the floor to stretch. Perhaps doing some yoga poses if you like, or some Tai Chi. Whatever feels right for you. But just imagining that you're giving your body a gift. And feeling how your body feels to receive this gift. Doing all of this in a deliberate and gradual way without any urgency. Breathing and stretching, breathing and moving. Breathing and feeling the movements. Being fully present in your body in this moment. And now coming back, gradually coming back to standing straight and tall. And again, just taking a moment to scan through your body, noticing how your body feels when you give it some gentle movement. Noticing how your body feels when you listen and respond. Bringing your awareness back down to the soles of your feet. Feeling the contact with the floor, with your shoes. Perhaps imagining that this is contact with the earth itself. If you like, imagining that you can draw strength and solidity from the earth into your own body. This body is also part of the earth. And then, as you feel ready, settling back into your seat. Or if you like, perhaps continuing to stand. There we are. And now, we'd like to offer you a practice of starting fresh. So again, taking a moment to settle back into your seat, perhaps by kind of snuggling into it or letting your hands be empty. And just arriving into the present moment. I will do some explaining during this practice, but I want to invite you to receive it without needing to write it down. I'd like to invite you to consider trusting the depths of your own mind, that these are seeds that can take root, even beyond the words themselves. Although if you do truly feel like you want to write it down, that's okay too. So taking a moment to feel yourself sitting here, letting your shoulders relax, letting your neck relax, taking a moment to ease and soften the muscles of your face. Starting fresh is a practice of renewal. You could think about your life as a garden. Things are growing there. Some of the things you like, some of the things you may not like. And you can always plant seeds. Nothing can stop you from coming back to your garden when you're ready. So taking a moment to let this question land in your mind. What would you like to start fresh in the coming year? What is it you would like to begin anew or approach with a fresh start? As we said earlier, it's not a question of throwing out the old you. But it's a question of recognizing that as humans, we sometimes get off track, lost in stories, overwhelmed with pain, or just on autopilot. So how would you like to be different in these next 12 months? What would you like to be different? For some of us, it can be helpful if we focus on a specific situation or a specific area of our lives. For some of us, it's helpful if it's more general. If you find this confusing or unclear, I suggest that you focus on something specific, like a specific situation at work or at home. How would you like to start fresh with that situation? Now, when you do this, you may notice that all kinds of things show up in your mind, in your heart. Stories may show up, the products of your past experience, some emotions may show up. old doubts or disappointments, self-judgment, maybe even harsh, terrible self-judgment may show up, or discouragement. Please give yourself what you need if this happens. And if possible, noticing it, saying, oh, hello, my doubts. Hello, my discouragement. Hello, my stories. See if you can let your energy of mindfulness greet each one in a friendly way. Welcome it and care for it with a tender heart. Oh yes, this is part of being human. My fear, my disappointment, my fatigue. Perhaps even imagining all these things like a circle of little children standing around a kindergarten teacher who acknowledges each one equally and doesn't dismiss or ridicule them, but says, okay, okay, what do you need? Offering kindness and friendliness for all of it. And when you feel more solid, more grounded, coming back to that question, how do I want to start fresh? And then formulating a wish, a brief, sincere, and clear sentence that reflects how you would like to start fresh. You might use a phrase like, may I? May I be kinder to myself? May I learn how to be more courageous and stand up for myself? May I have the strength to begin exercising again? Whatever it is for you, seeing if you can find some words that capture your wish for a fresh start. If a lot of words come up in your mind, or if you're not sure, see if you could just give yourself permission to choose one sentence. Just try it out. If you don't like it or you change your mind, later on you can redo it with a different sentence. It's okay. And now I invite you to make one hand into a fist and place this fist over your heart with the knuckles down. This is a symbol of strength and resolve and purpose. This is a symbol of your power, the power of being human, to be free and to choose. And just feeling this fist over your heart as you breathe. Begin to repeat your wish to yourself. Breathing in and out once, gently repeating the wish once. no urgency. Now, again, if while you do this, you notice that self-doubts or self-judgment come up, see if you could be kind to that and say, yes, I see you, I hear you. See if you can give yourself permission to be human. See if you can give yourself permission to not be perfect. If you like, tenderly placing your other hand over this fist as a symbol of friendly, caring, and tender kindness. As a symbol that you too are ready to feel the thorns of being human and be kind to yourself when things hurt or are unclear, so that you can enjoy the rose. Just coming back to your wish, your breath, and your wish. Remember, this is not a promise to be perfect. This is a promise to be human. Being human is messy, but we can always begin again if we are free. Letting go of your wish for a moment and just feeling your hands and letting these words sink into your mind, perhaps repeating them for yourself if you like. When I am fully present, I can always make a fresh start. When I am present and open, I can be free. when I am present with this caring force of this fist and this tender hand, I can be true to myself. Taking a few more moments to come back to your wish for a fresh start. Breathing and gently repeating the wish as if whispering into your own ear. And then letting go of this practice and just taking a moment before you open your eyes to rest quietly in your own body. Just noticing how the energy of your body is right now. Noticing how the energy of your mind is right now. See if you could allow this practice to be however it's been for you. And letting yourself appreciate. You do not have to wait until next January to start fresh. You can start fresh anytime, anywhere, whenever you need, wherever you are. Whenever you are fully present, you can make a fresh start. May it be so for all of us this year.
So we've looked back at last year and we've set a direction, a wish for this coming year. And so now the invitation is to jump forward a year, imagining ourselves a year from now, our future selves. And so this last meditation practice uses visualization, uses our imagination. And some people have very rich imaginations and visualizations, but not everybody does. So if you don't, then just be easy with yourself and let this meditation unfold as it will, and use your own style. So being a little playful, get curious about what arises. So we'll start by settling in to a posture, and you might like to change your posture for this last meditation. Sitting in a different way, or standing, or lying down. It's up to you. You might want to wiggle around a little bit until you find a posture that's relatively balanced, steady. Resting back into the sense of being grounded, yet uplifted. Allowing the in-breath to refresh you, and the out-breath letting go of what you don't need to be holding on to right now as best you can. So softening on the out-breath. And now allowing awareness of the body and the breath to move into the background. And we'll shift our attention to the more creative aspect of the mind. And imagine that you are in a place that feels comfortable and safe. And perhaps you're outdoors somewhere in nature, on a beach, in the mountains, or in a meadow. And it can be a real place or an imaginary place. A place you feel peaceful and safe. It's a beautiful day, gorgeous weather. And you're the only one here. You might like to visualize this place, the colors, details. There might be a scent in the air. Allowing yourself to feel the comfort of being in this place. And soon you notice that someone starts walking towards you. And as this person approaches, you notice that they are radiant, calm, joyful. And you soon realize that the person walking up to you is yourself 1 year from now, 1 year from today. And your future self has flourished, thrived, seems confident, content, and upbeat. And of course, your future self has met difficulties, struggles, and challenges along the way, but has done so with wisdom and care. So as you see the face of your future self, what do you notice? So you invite your future self to sit next to you, seeing and sensing this person in as much detail as possible. Especially allowing yourself to feel what it's like to be in their presence. Receiving the energy of this future self. And you ask your future self the following questions. What is it you most remember about the year 2022? What has your future self done in the last year in order to have flourished and grown in positive ways? What has your future self done differently? Perhaps they decided not to do something, and this in itself helped them to flourish and grow. So taking a moment to hear the answer. And if no words come, that's okay too. Just staying open to receive. You notice the attitudes and qualities your future self embodies, and you ask, what do I need to be most aware of to get me from where I am now to where you are? What do I need to be most aware of to get me from where I am now to where you are? So listening to what your future self has to tell you. Perhaps they speak about attitudes or qualities of mind and heart that were cultivated. And now, as you sit together, taking a few more moments to enjoy your future self's presence. And thanking your future self for the advice and for this visit. And then bidding them farewell for now. So still sitting in your comfortable place, allowing yourself to savor what just happened, this visit. And perhaps reflecting on some of the words you received. And before this meditation comes to a close, remember your future self is a part of you. The presence you felt is a deep part of yourself. And the images and words your future self used came from your own inner wisdom, your own inner warmth and compassion, which is always within you, especially when you need it most. Their inner wisdom is your inner wisdom. So now beginning to release the visualization. Beginning to feel the body as a whole. Allowing yourself to be exactly as you are. Sensing into the space, the room that you're in. And when you're ready, allowing the eyes to open. And we're near the end of this mini retreat, so you may like to take a moment to reflect on what you'd like to remember before we move to the next part.
in addition to your writing, if you are writing, or as part of the experience, if you're not, just taking some moments to savor whatever's present for you right now. Just noticing whatever's present. Noticing whatever has connected for you, whatever has landed for you over these last 2 hours. Letting go of anything that didn't land or didn't connect for you. And of course, let's just take a few breaths to let it soak in. Again, really trusting that this experience can soak deeply in. And if you like, if it feels right, starting to ask yourself an additional question, which is, what do I need to help carry this forward? If these are some seeds you've planted in the garden of your life today, what are the things you need to water these seeds, or what is the sunlight these seeds need going forward? Really kind of asking yourself, what would those things be? I don't know about y'all, but I need reminders. I need lots and lots of reminders. There's a whole bunch of things that I need, but ask yourself, what do you need? And Siri's got some ideas about that she's going to share with us as well right now. But also really, again, paying attention, seeing if you to really acknowledge what it is that you need.
So yeah, it's for me, it's the biggest challenge is remembering, and to come back to these wishes that we came up with for ourselves, if we had wishes that came up. So I actually want to hand it over to the wisdom in this Zoom room and ask if you have any tips on how to remember your intentions, and perhaps just writing them